to be shocking, and it's whatever. So what? And so speaking of Eddie Murphy, now he's got he's going 75 million to do a Netflix again.
Yeah, that's nice payday.
Do you think
Someone's
after?
got to
for
find a
Eddie
place to
Murphy.
experiment.
Good for Eddie Murphy.
I mean, I mean, but I mean
He's
after.
a movie star.
Yeah, but I mean, there's no way it's going to be good. I would think. I mean, it's after what?
He'll certainly be happy while he's doing
He
it.
hasn't done comedy in 35 stand up in 35 years.
Well, everybody will
Adam
tune in.
Sandler didn't do it for a while. He went out there, did 100% Fresh, did really well.
Yeah, but not 35 years. I mean, the last time Eddie Murphy did stand up was what,
It's
87.
like bicycles. You just get your
Yeah, well,
confidence out.
He's
You
not
go out
going to
there.
walk onto a stage and shoot a special. He's
No, I
going
know.
to do a tour, and he's going to get an act together, and then, you know, he's a movie. Look, he's a movie star. So is Adam Sandler. They're not stand-ups. They're movie
Right.
stars.
Right.
They're being hired as movie stars to do stand-up.
Right.
Which is where they started. It's like if you cooked in a kitchen for a family dinner, now you become a huge restaurateur, and somebody's going to bring you back to cook a dinner. You know, it's just it's a movie star doing stand up, and there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not criticizing that, but that's why
Right.
he's being paid that.
Right. And somebody else probably that you wouldn't have on Cabaret again. I would assume would be Roseanne probably.
You know, well, yeah, I'm not going to say anything bad about any of these people. It's not who I
No,
am,
but the reason I'm saying this is that you've worked with these people. I haven't, and you have a little more insight as to who they are.
Roseanne's not stable. I wouldn't book her because who knows if she'll show up. You know, it's like
That's true.
I mean, it's unfortunate. And it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to me. I wouldn't say anything bad because Roseanne fought the good fight for so long. She
Right.
paved the way for so many women.
Yeah.
That show was so beautiful, and that show was, for all the Sturm and Drang, they did that show. They did it year after year, and that show broke so many boundaries about body image. Show broke boundaries for women. That show broke boundaries in terms of what's appropriate to do comedy about. It was. It talked about money, which is one of the huge taboos in America. I mean, it was, I want to say brilliant. And she's done brilliant on cabaret sets.
And her stand-up before her show was groundbreaking as well.
Groundbreaking. In her book, she's the way she started. So, I love Roseanne. I pray for Roseanne. I pray that Roseanne finds sanity. She just seems unhappy and unhinged. But inside that, there's a different person. So I would never say never. Who knows what will happen to Roseanne next year?
Yeah, I mean, I admire Roseanne as a comic. I just I don't know. I hope she gets through it. I think, like you say, I think she's been mentally unstable for a long time. I think there are things that go by
I think
around her.
everybody in comedy is mentally unstable.
Well, yeah, that's what I think. That's what I think.
We need to read Michel Foucault a little bit. It's back in the day. I mean, psychological depression started narrowing what normalcy is, and back in the day, people who were a little off were considered special.
Yeah.
Like during the French Revolution, people who were a little weird, they would just mouth off things. They were given a special class that they were blessed in some way.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, mental health, they started putting people in asylums.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I mean, it's mental health, how we define it, and what's crazy and what's not crazy, and being so. There's a beautiful book that I've been reading for about a year, 3 pages at a time. I'll finish it one of these days, and it's called The Care of the Soul, and it has to do with not trying to fix things. That our soul communicates to us through what would be maybe considered crazy or illness, or how do we bring soul into the world? And that, it's one of the problems with show business is it is soul crushing. So you come into show business as an artist, and you want to express yourself, and you want to be creative, and you want to be goth or different. It attracts people of difference. And then there's a homogenization and a fixingness and a polishing that wants to heterogenize everyone. I don't know if that's a word, but
Heterogenize.
Homogenize.
But I like this heterogeneous.
Heterogeneous, yeah. Homogenous. I don't know, yeah. Yeah. You say homogenize, just say heterogeneous.
But you know what I mean? It's like a certain.
No, I know what you mean, but also I think from what I'm seeing in stand-up, and you were talking about how people get funnier as they get older. Mm-hmm. I think there's an ageism in stand-up that I didn't see before.
Well, there's two things. One is there's an ageism in all of show business, and two, the business of show business is hard to do as you get older because it's late nights and it's traveling to shitty motels and it's. I mean, it's really. I mean, the physical effort of stand-up does not encourage an older person. It's not an older person's game for that reason. However.
Are you crying or you're laughing?
No, I started later in life. Just
it's okay. I'm not saying it's like that.
Augie. Do you guys know who Augie is? A stand-up comic that went around the Liquid Kitty. Oh God, the
Liquid Zoo.
The zoo. He came out there. He was like an old road hack, and he said, "You want to be a road hack at your age? You carry it." That's a young whippersnapper's thing.
Yeah.
So I did it for about 5 years, broke, just everywhere I could go, paid my dues, figured out how to write a set. And I realized I just want to put the comedy within my solo show instead.
Right.
So that's how there's an evolution to it. So I'm learning about evolution of your own. It's finding your voice.
Yep.
It's finding what material works for you, being very brutally honest up there. But exploring, and when we're talking about comedy, we're looking at stories, and the stories sometimes have premises, and you pull the premise and then you make lots of jokes out of those things. But we have to have the ability to explore, to say what is crazy, this is stupid, this is funny, this is, what's weird about this, all the things that get us. We are making judgments, and it's those judgments that have been narrowed. I think the court gesture needs to come back. We need to really kind of allow people to have an open mic. They can say what they want without fear of being taken out somewhere.
Well, I think some people would argue that Facebook, Twitter, and all that is that.
No, it's not. There's a lot of censorship going on.
Well,
I don't think it's a.
The guy in England who taught his pug how to do a Heil Hitler thing. The guy got prosecuted for that.
I think that's okay.
Really?
Yep. I don't think there's anywhere in the world for Heil Hitler anything. I honestly don't. Or did he not define it as that? I didn't see this thing.
Count Dankula. Go look up Count Dankula.
Count
Dankula. Okay.
Count Dankula. Okay.
Count Dankula.
Count
I
Dankula.
don't know. I mean, I think part of it is tracking everything. But I'm iffy on any.
Is it funny? Yeah. I mean, is that funny? I don't know.
It's a dog putting his hand up.
No,
but
no.
A paw, but it's not a hand. It's a paw.
Well, let me.
How does a paw do that?
Well, let me ask you this: the Kathy Griffin thing. Did you think that was funny?
To somebody, it might be.
I quite enjoyed it.
But she wasn't.
But if you walk into comedy with the idea, okay, if we license speech, it's either free speech or it's not free speech, or it becomes licensed speech. Unless we go down to the Kafkaesque wager, where we slowly lose our ability to speak at all and think at all, because really speaking and writing is all reflection of thought. It becomes a form of thought control.
Well, but you're not being arrested for it. It's just not necessarily something.
Arrested, deplatformed. Okay, if they can harm you other than being arrested, then it's the same thing.
How so?
It is. Deplatforming, losing your job, your livelihood. There's other kinds of punishments.
Yes, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but taking you off Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, those are private corporations. You think they can do that? You think they should do that?
Well, it's a private ownership of a public square. It depends if that argument, are they a platform or a publisher? Do you really want to get down that road with me?
No.
But
okay.
I mean,
I'll turn a lawyer on for you.
Yeah, I know.
just to flip it. I mean, do you think Trump should be on Twitter?
Yes.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Do you think he's doing a good job on Twitter?
Depends.
Right.
And who you're talking to. It's a context question.
Right. I would say that I personally, I don't think he's the best tweeter myself, but that's just personal.
Yeah, but his Twitters are inflammatory on purpose.
No, I got that, and I have a feeling that he's not writing most of those, but so whoever is.
Well, okay. The left and right have their own little game that they're playing. Right
Well,
now.
I'm not playing. I honestly don't.
Game going on.
I honestly,
it's like it's called fourth dimensional chess.
I honestly don't think Donald Trump at 3 a.m. is sitting there going, "Oh, I got
He's
this."
not doing that.
I got this smug.
That.
That's what I'm saying. So I got this smug thing about Biden. I'm going to throw out there. Somebody's doing that. This is not him.
Peter Thiel said it best. We wanted floating cars. We got 140 characters. It's a form of hive mind. There's no such thing as 7 degrees of separation. If Trump tweets something, everybody sees it. He knows this.
Right.
They know that. Now think ahead. Play chess.
Right.
Okay. He's going to piss somebody off with something, drawing attention to it. Right. Does something with one tweet.
It's misdirection.
Well, there's a lot of misdirection.
Yeah.
It's all misdirection.
The whole thing is a freaking puppet show, so.
Yeah. Anyway, this is why I don't do political comedy.
Yeah.
But just a couple more questions because I know.
Really
I'm going to have to go in about.
I know we're going to have to go. So, Jerry Seinfeld of all people said that.
2 colleges.
Right. This is what I was going to ask Beth about. It's about 5 years ago he came out with this I'm too edgy for the colleges. They won't buy my material. I'm like, this is the guy. Hey, you always lose one sock in the laundry. I mean, that's too. Do you feel he's got a point?
I don't know.
I mean, it's just stupid.
This is hard to even. I have to say, I begrudgingly looked at his Netflix special because I try to keep my eye on
the last one.
It was so good.
It wasn't bad, yeah.
And I mean, I'm not. I was ready to watch 5 minutes and turn it off. And I thought he did a great job storytelling. It was very intimate. I love intimacy.
It was the best that I've ever seen him do.
Is Jerry Seinfeld too edgy for comedy for colleges? I don't know. But I mean, that's crazy that he said that. Maybe he is.
Well, I've said this before in the show. I think there's such a double-edged sword as far as political correctness in that, there's all sorts of things you cannot say. My example is you can't say Oriental on stage. However, every young comic I know has a rape joke, which.
Well, I've seen some rape jokes that are about the idea of rape that are interesting. Somebody did one on a couple of Amazon shows. I'm trying to think who it was. There's nothing you can say that can do or not do. I don't think that comedy should make vulnerable communities feel unsafe. I don't feel that.
Do people really have a right to intellectual security?
I don't know. I would get up and walk out, though. I mean, I don't think that
there's something called fragility culture, and who's responsible for their fragility? If you really need a trigger warning, you need not come to a comedy club.
I disagree. I think there's a kindness and a love that can be in comedy. I don't think comedy has to be assaultive. But
kindness is used as a malapropism in order to silence.
I don't know, whatever.
And yet, you almost when I first met you almost beat up a comedian who said tranny on stage.
Beat him up?
You got in his face.
Who did I get in the face
of? Ty Rivera.
Did I?
Yes, you did.
I can't remember.
Yeah, because he said tranny on stage. Oh,
I may have a little while ago, and I asked, and I say it any way you want.
No, I'm saying he said tranny on stage, or he made some joke, and you got in his face.
I'm trying to remember. This might have been in the very beginning.
Right. So
people change.
People change.
Okay.
So that's. I mean, okay. Once you get this, it's called a club. It's called call out cancel culture. Okay. Once the directive comes down through the I guess what do they call it? I don't know, through the Twitterverse, they say certain words get banned. It's all Herbert Marcuse. It's called repressive tolerance. It's a way of thought policing. And I took a step back once I saw Professor Brett Weinstein, who is a very classical. He's like a liberal professor up in Evergreen College up in Washington, and they took it down. It's like I started noticing what was going on, kind of like a liberal fascism that was starting to happen about censorship on the left, and now the right keeps talking about freedom of speech. It's what the hell happened? Since the 1960s, since the free speech movement on campus.
Well, I mean, once again, with politics, it is bullshit on both sides, and I've always said that, and I will continue to say that. And this is another reason I don't go into politics. Anyway, Beth, the Jerry Seinfeld Bobcat Goldthwait beef. Who do you got?
Oh, Bobcat. I mean, Bobcat was a hero.
Yeah,
Bobcat was the first comedian I saw that I thought, oh, comedy might be okay.
Really? Because I guess Seinfeld was on his the Cars and the Comedy and
they
the Coffee.
Did that together, yeah.
No. He did with somebody, and they said, I love Bobcat Goldthwait. I work with him. And he's like, that guy sucks. He always thought he was cool, and he's not cool. He was terrible. Like, this was just Seinfeld.
Oh my God, he made me laugh so hard from the very beginning. I mean, if you want to talk about the jesters, I mean, yes. Bobcat was a clown, and he was rock and roll, and he was inappropriate, and he was too loud, and he was, he seemed insane. He did seem insane.
Yeah.
Do you think that was part of his actor? Is that really him?
I mean, that's him, but not